The New England Patriots have just made a move that, at first glance, might have flown under the radar for a lot of fans, but when you start to really break it down, it makes a lot of sense. This isn't one of those flashy, headline-grabbing signings that gets everyone hyped instantly. No, this is a calculated, strategic acquisition that speaks directly to one of the biggest challenges the Patriots have faced over the past season: depth. And when I say depth, I mean those players who aren't necessarily going to fill highlight reels every Sunday, but who are essential for keeping a team competitive over the grind of full season. Enter Kavon Chason. Now, for anyone who might not be familiar with Chason's story, it's worth laying out just how much he has overcome to get to this point. Drafted in the first round back in 2020, Chason came out of LSU with all the talent you'd expect from a first-round edge rusher. Scouts were high on his explosiveness off the edge, his ability to disrupt the quarterback, and his potential to be a cornerstone of a defensive front. But as often happens in the NFL, the transition from college to the pros isn't always smooth, and Chason's journey has been anything but linear. He spent his early years with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where injuries started to creep in, specifically knee issues that limited some of his development. He bounced back during the season after a meniscus injury, but it was a story familiar to many young players. Flashes of brilliance, moments of struggle, and a need to adapt to the speed and complexity of professional football. After his rookie contract ended, the Jaguars decided not to extend him, which could have been the end of the road for some players. But Chason took a different path. He moved to the Panthers practice squad, then was released, only to be picked up by the Raiders. There he finally started to find some stability, moving from the practice squad to the active roster and putting together what was arguably his best season in the league. This period was crucial because it showed that while he might not have reached the ceiling many had projected when he was drafted, he still possessed the skills, resilience, and work ethic necessary to contribute meaningfully to a team. Fast forward to this year, and the Patriots saw an opportunity. They signed Chason to a one-year, $5 million deal, a contract that is financially reasonable for the organization, but strategically significant. Why? Because one of the Patriots' key challenges last season was not always about the stars on the field. It was about having reliable players behind those stars, the ones who could step in without a noticeable drop in performance. Depth is a concept that often gets overlooked by casual fans because these players don't make the highlight reels or grab the headlines. But anyone who has followed NFL team construction closely knows how critical it is. Chason represents exactly that: a rotational piece who can step in, maintain pressure on the quarterback, and allow the starters to rest or adjust without sacrificing the overall performance of the defensive front. And it's not just theory. In the recent game against the Vikings, Chason already demonstrated why he could be such a valuable piece. He pressured the quarterback at crucial moments, forcing decisions that led to turnovers. These plays don't always show up prominently in box scores, and casual viewers might miss them, but anyone watching the game closely could see the impact. A well-timed pressure, a disrupted play, the ability to collapse the pocket. These are the kinds of contributions that make a depth player invaluable. The Patriots have seen firsthand how fragile a defensive front can be if they rely too heavily on their starters without competent reinforcements. Last year, there were moments when the lack of depth was glaring, and it influenced game outcomes. Bringing in someone like Chason is a proactive step to prevent that scenario from repeating. It's also worth noting that while Chason is expected to play a rotational role, his presence affects the entire defensive line. Players like Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, and others will benefit from having a reliable partner to share snaps. This allows the starters to maintain high energy levels and reduces the risk of injuries that could derail a season. The Patriots have always been a team that values strategic depth, and this move continues that tradition. It's a reminder that building a competitive roster isn't just about the headline stars. It's about crafting a unit where every player, starter, or backup contributes to the team's resilience and adaptability over a demanding season. Looking at Chason individually, it's clear he has potential that hasn't yet been fully realized. He may never become an All-Pro or a Pro Bowl level talent, and that's not what the Patriots are counting on. They need a dependable, experienced player who can come in, execute his assignments, and enhance the performance of the defensive line collectively. That's exactly the role Chason is being asked to fill. And if he can continue to improve, maintain his health, and make an impact in these rotational opportunities, he could end up being one of those quietly influential players who significantly elevates the team's overall performance. What makes this even more interesting is the broader context of the Patriots roster. Last season highlighted weaknesses in depth, not only on defense, but also on the offensive line. The ability to rotate quality players is what separates teams that can withstand the grind of a full NFL schedule from those that falter when key starters need rest or get injured. Chason is a part of a pattern of smart roster construction by the Patriots front office, and it underscores the philosophy that talent alone isn't enough. Depth, adaptability, and reliability matter just as much. This signing also sends a message about the Patriots' approach to talent evaluation. They aren't simply chasing big names or flashy acquisitions. Instead, they're looking at players who have shown resilience, flashes of high-level performance, and the ability to contribute immediately in a well-defined role. Chason fits that mold perfectly. He's a player who has navigated the ups and downs of the league, adapted to different systems, and now arrives in a situation where he can play to his strengths and help a team that values structure, discipline, and collective performance over individual accolades. And beyond just his on-field contributions, Chason's story is emblematic of a larger theme in the NFL: the importance of perseverance and adaptability. Players often face setbacks, whether through injuries, roster moves, or changes in coaching staff, and the ones who continue to evolve and seize opportunities are the ones who ultimately make a lasting impact. For Patriots fans, this is exciting because it's not just about Chason's individual stats. It's about what he represents: a smart, calculated addition to a team that is always thinking multiple steps ahead, building a roster designed to compete at a high level every week, and ensuring that every player on the field, from starter to rotational piece, has the ability to contribute meaningfully to the team's success. Even when you watch the nuances of game film, you can see how these depth pieces create advantages that aren't always obvious in statistics. Pressures, quarterback hurries, strategic substitutions, and maintaining high energy levels across a defensive front. All of these elements are part of what makes the Patriots a tough team to play against. Chason adds another layer to that complexity. He's not a star who needs constant attention. He's a reliable piece that strengthens the collective unit. When you think about it, this kind of strategic depth is what separates championship-level teams from the rest. Super Bowl contenders aren't just made from the best starters. They're built on the foundation of reliable, experienced rotational players who can step up when needed, maintain consistency, and prevent performance drop-offs. Chason fits this mold perfectly, and his journey through the league has equipped him with the experience and resilience to thrive in exactly this role. As we move into the second part of this deep dive, it's crucial to understand how Kavon Chason's presence on the Patriots roster doesn't just fill a single spot. It has ripple effects across the entire defensive strategy. The Patriots have always been a team that thrives on preparation, discipline, and the ability to adapt mid-game, and the addition of Chason directly enhances that adaptability. Think about the defensive line as a constantly moving chessboard. Every player's positioning, every snap, every rotation matters. A player like Chason allows the Patriots to maintain pressure on quarterbacks, rotate starters without losing efficiency, and keep the energy levels high throughout the grind of a full NFL season. One of the interesting things about Chason is how he complements the existing defensive front. Players like Christian Barmore have established themselves as foundational pieces, but even stars like him need support to stay effective week after week. Football at this level isn't just about talent. It's about endurance. A player might be dominant in 1 or 2 series, but sustaining peak performance across 16, 17, or even 18 games requires careful management of snaps. That's where Chason comes in. He's not a flash-in-the-pan star. He's a calculated reinforcement, someone who can rotate in during critical situations and maintain the defensive tempo without giving opponents a hint of vulnerability. Now, if we examine his gameplay style, Chason is particularly effective in situational matchups. He may not lead the league in sacks, but his ability to pressure quarterbacks in short yardage or third down situations is a huge asset. Those moments often define games more than standard box score stats. A well-timed rush that forces a quarterback to throw prematurely can be the difference between a first down and a turnover. Patriots coaching staff are acutely aware of this kind of nuance, which is why signing Chason is more than just filling a roster spot. It's a strategic investment in specific game scenarios where the margin between winning and losing can be razor thin. Another layer to this is how Chason's presence influences opposing teams' offensive game planning. When a defense has competent depth, offenses can no longer rely on predictable matchups or exploit the fatigue of starters late in games. Quarterbacks and offensive coordinators have to account for rotational players who can maintain pressure and disrupt plays. This unpredictability adds a subtle but powerful advantage. Chason may not be on the field every snap, but even when he is rotating in, his mere presence forces adjustments that can create opportunities for the Patriots starters to capitalize on weaknesses elsewhere. Moreover, Chason's journey through multiple teams before landing in New England provides him with a unique perspective on adaptability and learning new systems quickly. The Patriots, under Bill Belichick, have always valued players who can understand complex schemes, adapt to multiple roles, and execute under pressure. Chason has had to learn multiple defensive schemes in his career, adapting to different coaches, teammates, and expectations. That experience is invaluable in New England's system, where every player is expected to grasp their role in intricate defensive alignments and be ready to adjust in real time. His football IQ, shaped by experience across different organizations, could be just as valuable as his physical contributions on the field. Depth players like Chason also contribute in less obvious ways that might not make the highlight reels, but are vital for team cohesion and preparation. During practices, these players simulate opposing offenses, provide reliable competition for starters, and ensure that every snap in practice is meaningful. The Patriots' legendary preparation routines demand high-quality rotational players who can consistently challenge starters in training, helping everyone reach their maximum potential. Chason brings that kind of competitive consistency, pushing the team to be better without overshadowing the main contributors. Another key aspect to consider is injury management. Last season, the Patriots experienced moments where injuries to key players exposed weaknesses in their depth. This isn't unique to New England. Every NFL team deals with injuries, but the difference between a playoff team and a mid-tier squad often comes down to how effectively backups can step up. Chason's skill set allows him to seamlessly fill gaps in the defensive line without a steep drop-off in performance. That's exactly what the Patriots need to avoid late-season collapses due to fatigue or minor injuries. Financially, the contract structure is smart as well. A one-year, $5 million deal is low risk for the Patriots, but provides Chason with an opportunity to showcase his value. For the team, it's a strategic way to add quality depth without jeopardizing cap space or future flexibility. For Chason, it's a chance to prove he can be more than just a rotational player and potentially earn a more substantial role, whether with the Patriots or elsewhere in the league. This mutual benefit underscores how strategic roster management goes beyond individual talent. It's about timing, opportunity, and fit within the broader team ecosystem. Looking at the preseason performances, Chason has already shown glimpses of why he's worth this investment. In drills focused on pass rush mechanics and containment, he has consistently demonstrated discipline and technique, two things the Patriots emphasize heavily. He isn't just relying on raw athleticism. He's studying tendencies, adjusting to offensive linemen in real time, and positioning himself to maximize impact even with limited snaps. These are subtle skills that often distinguish players who can sustain NFL careers from those who fade after a few seasons. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The sports world woke up to a whirlwind of speculation today as whispers spread across New England that Tyreek Hill, one of the most electrifying wide receivers in modern football, could be the centerpiece of the biggest acquisition in New England Patriots history. If true, this would signal not just a blockbuster move, but a seismic shift in the balance of power within the AFC. Hill, known for his blistering speed, unmatched agility, and ability to turn even the shortest pass into a game-changing play, has been at the center of countless headlines throughout his career. Yet the mere suggestion that the Patriots, an organization long defined by calculated precision and traditional roster building, would reach for a star of this magnitude has created ripples across the league. Fans have been buzzing on social media. Analysts are debating the plausibility on live television, and rivals are already envisioning the nightmare of containing a Patriots offense suddenly infused with such raw explosiveness. Even if unconfirmed, the chatter has taken on a life of its own, with each new whisper fueling the possibility that New England, long hungry to redefine itself in the post-Brady era, has finally found the megastar to carry its banner forward. The idea of Tyreek Hill donning the iconic Patriots uniform feels almost surreal, particularly given the franchise's history of rarely pursuing headline-grabbing names at the absolute peak of their market value. New England has traditionally been known for extracting hidden gems, revitalizing overlooked veterans, and relying on a system-driven approach rather than individual brilliance. However, the constant murmurs surrounding this rumored signing suggest a possible departure from tradition, an acknowledgement that the league's offensive landscape has evolved into a space where game-breaking talent cannot simply be manufactured through schemes alone. Hill's presence would immediately provide a focal point around which an entire offense could revolve, demanding double coverage and opening lanes for other receivers while redefining how defensive coordinators prepare for the Patriots. Imagine the Foxborough crowd erupting as Hill takes a simple slant route 70 yards to the end zone, or as his mere presence forces safeties to abandon their usual formations. The speculation has become so intense that former players, reporters, and even rival coaches are quietly questioning if the Patriots, once defined by their dynasty years, are plotting a second act that is every bit as bold as their first. Beyond the dazzling on-field implications, the rumored arrival of Tyreek Hill would represent a massive cultural statement from an organization that has been wrestling with its identity since the departure of Tom Brady. In many ways, this potential signing goes beyond football. It is about symbolism, about reclaiming a spotlight that has dimmed in recent years, about telling the rest of the NFL that New England is no longer content to simply be competitive. It wants to be feared again. Patriots supporters have grown weary of watching other franchises dominate headlines with flashy moves while their team remains steadfastly conservative. This rumor, whether fully substantiated or not, feels like a response to that discontent, a recognition that fans crave spectacle as much as they crave victories. Bringing in Hill would immediately reignite excitement, sell out jerseys in record time, and make Gillette Stadium the epicenter of NFL media coverage once again. It would be a marriage between one of the most disciplined, structured franchises in sports history and one of the most flamboyant, exhilarating athletes of his generation, a combination that could either explode into chaos or redefine what dominance looks like in the modern NFL landscape. Of course, swirling around every corner of this rumor are doubts, criticisms, and skepticism. Could the Patriots' famously rigid culture coexist with a star whose personality is as bold and uncompromising as his play? Would Bill Belichick, long regarded as the ultimate architect of controlled locker rooms, truly be willing to embrace a figure whose individuality sometimes defies the very principles of the Patriot way? Insiders are already weighing in, suggesting that the team might be ready to loosen its grip on tradition if it means recapturing greatness, while others warn of possible clashes that could unravel everything. Yet the allure is undeniable. Hill's skill set is so rare, so unique, that teams have often been willing to overlook concerns in exchange for the chance at sheer brilliance. If New England indeed chooses this path, it could mark a generational pivot, the kind of risk that either elevates the franchise back to championship heights or becomes a cautionary tale in future discussions about the dangers of abandoning identity. Still, The very fact that such a rumor has captured so much attention proves how powerful the idea of Hill in Patriots colors truly is. Whether this monumental move becomes reality or fades into the haze of offseason gossip, the conversation itself is reshaping the way fans, analysts, and even opponents think about the Patriots. For a franchise often accused of being methodical to the point of monotony, the sudden buzz around Tyreek Hill has injected life into every discussion of New England football. Supporters are daring to dream again, imagining a season where fireworks return to Foxborough and the Patriots reassert themselves as contenders in a league dominated by offensive juggernauts. Rival teams, meanwhile, are nervously contemplating what it would mean to face a Patriots offense fueled by one of the fastest and most dynamic athletes the sport has ever seen. The rumor has transcended the boundaries of plausibility, morphing into something greater, a story of ambition, of identity, and of legacy. Whether fact or fiction, it has reminded everyone that the Patriots remain a franchise capable of commanding the spotlight. And if, against all odds, Tyreek Hill truly becomes the biggest signing in their history, the NFL may never look the same again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.